McCann here, 4 seconds out in Ireland with Matchroom Boxing CEO Frank Smith. Frank, what's your expectations for the weekend where we see Crocker and Donovan crack on again?
It's going to be a spectacular night. You only have to look around here. This is a place that really buys into big boxing events, and Saturday's one of those. We're going to have 20,000 people at Windsor Park. It's going to be some occasion that people will remember for a long, long time, and an opportunity for the winner of that fight to go on and really change their life. They become world champion. You know, the controversy of the first fight would have sold this fight, but to have a full world title on the line as well really changes the winner's life. So I'm looking forward to it. Big night of boxing in Belfast. Great place to be. Excited for it.
Is it Liam Crocker or Lewis Crocker?
Lewis Crocker. Did I say Liam?
No, you didn't, but DAZN did. I don't know if you saw that tweet.
It's definitely Lewis Crocker.
Yeah.
It's definitely not Liam Crocker.
That's what I saw.
Unless he's changed his name this week just for a laugh.
Yeah, he might have done.
I like Liam Crocker. Sounds got a ring to it. I like Lewis Crocker. But, you know, whatever he fancies being called this week.
Of course, Matchroom have vested interest in both fighters, but is there ever a commercially more favourable fighter that Matchroom would maybe like to win? Is ever viewed as that point?
I mean, look, ultimately you're going to have the world champion, the welterweight world champion. So whoever comes out of this fight is going to be in a great position commercially, you know? It's obviously, Belfast has been a great market for us over the years. Of course, we've done many huge events here, you know, for the last 15 years since I've worked for Matchroom, or 16, 17 years. But, you know, may the best man win. It's sometimes difficult when you promote both fighters, but at the end of the day, those two guys are getting in the ring, and the best man's going to win, and wish them the best of luck and health. And yeah, it's good to be able to deliver the opportunities, and, you know, to be able to deliver a full world title for the guys. That's our job at the end of the day. And the best man will win, and excited to see who comes out on top.
What stands out to you on the undercard?
This man in the ring right now, Ishmael Davis against Kevin Nagako. That's going to be a great fight. You know, two fighters putting their neck on the line. You know, Ishmael's done it time and time again. Fair play to Kevin as well for taking the test, because it's a real fight. And the winner of that's going to set themselves up for big fights in the 154-pound division. I'm excited to see Molly McCann's professional debut, obviously, her first fight away from the UFC in professional boxing. So excited to see her in the ring. Pat Brown, who's been knocking people out for fun. That's going to be a great one as well. So, and lots on the undercard, 10 fights on the show. It's going to be a good night.
I just want to focus on Molly in terms of her pull from being a UFC star into the boxing ring. Do you think that translates, and does she have to be managed carefully on the way to the top because of the pull that she has?
I think she needs to be, as with anyone coming in on their debut, they have to be built in the right way and in the right fights. And that's the same thing we'll have to do with Molly. You know, she'll probably come under a bit more pressure because of her commercial appeal, you know, and her following, and what she's done in UFC, obviously. But, you know, that's our job to do.
I just want to hone in on that a little bit more, because the UFC stance on matchmaking, whether it be debut, is to just throw you into the deep end, and if you can swim, you can swim. Boxing is a little bit different. They cater to you a little bit better. Why is boxing's way of matchmaking better than the UFC's or MMA in general?
Yeah, but I think, you know, before people go into the UFC, a lot of them in MMA have careers with other, you know, franchises. You know, UFC is not the only, they're by far the biggest, but they're not the only franchise of MMA. So a lot of fighters will do that before they step into that level. This is Molly McCann's first professional fight in the sport of boxing, you know, so it has to be done in the right way. But you will see, as we've been showing, real fights, we're pushing fighters to take real fights at the right times, because it's what we need in boxing, and that's been a detriment of boxing, and why UFC, in my opinion, has gone to the levels it has, because, like you say, they make proper fights, they make real fights, but at the same time there's a duty to build fighters in the right way.
I just want to tie up a loose end. Jarko had some frustrations about his position at Matchroom, but obviously he's now back with Matchroom. What got Jarko back to the table at Matchroom?
It was about making the right fights. It goes back to that point you said there. We want to make fights that the fans want to see, you know, and sometimes that doesn't always tally up or align with what a fighter wants, you know. And I'm not saying we just listen to the fans and go, you're doing this, but it has to be commercially sensible fights that people go, yeah, I'm interested in that. Because ultimately it's not taking the sport forward, it's not taking the fighter's career forward if they're not taking fights people are interested in. You know, so that's all it's ever about. And it comes down to the fact we're running a business at the same time. So the money we're spending, we're investing money, you know, and fighters have their right, they're the fighters, they're the ones getting in the ring. But we're the ones who are paying the money in the first instance and taking the risk on shows and events to make these fights happen. So the fights have to make commercial sense to us, and sometimes that doesn't always tally up at certain stages of fighters' careers.
Onto the headlines. One of the biggest headlines is Anthony Joshua's recent statement put out on Instagram. He, first of all, congratulated Joe Parker and Fabio Wardley for their heavyweight clash, but also made a beeline for Tyson Fury about whether they meet in the ring and what he would do if they ever meet in the ring. What was your reaction to seeing that statement?
It's good. It's good to see him firing, you know. Anthony Joshua, as I've said time and time again, is the commercial kingpin in the heavyweight division. If people want to make money, they fight Anthony Joshua. He's got, you know, the world at his feet still, whether people like it or not. He can decide what he wants to do. The Tyson Fury fight is a huge fight, and it's a fight I believe will happen. Whether it's next, when it is, I can't tell you. But I just believe it's too big not to happen.
I saw on Talksport that there was a confirmation that Anthony Joshua has now received an offer to fight over in Africa. Can you put some more flesh on the bones as to what that situation is and if there's any more movement on that?
Yeah, look, we've been in discussions, obviously, in Ghana to do an event here at the Accra Sports Stadium. I spoke to the guys today as well. Looking at the early part of next year, there's discussions ongoing there, and it's very possible. That would be a moment. You know, I spent some time walking around there. I spent some time in Accra. That would be a special moment and images that would live on, you know, long beyond these fighters' careers, that you'll look back on in 10, 20, 30, 40 years' time and go, wow, do you remember that night? And if we can create something like that, it's something we all want to be involved in.
What level of opponent are you looking at for AJ?
We're working, no detail on opponent, honestly, yet. You know, the key is, with the people we're talking to in Accra, obviously, Legacy Sports and the team, it's about bringing a huge event and a huge star in Anthony Joshua across. And we'll work on the opponent and see what the best route is.
There was the potential that Matchroom could have landed Sabril Matis and Dalton Smith over the UK. Isn't to be the case. Sabril Matis and his team have landed the purse bid. Just talk me through, I guess, imagine your disappointment at not getting that purse bid for Dalton.
Yeah, of course. You know, we've worked very hard and pushed hard to get Dalton in the position. As I see, you know, he's delivered in the ring. I feel we put in a very competitive bid. It's always difficult when you're on the smaller share, the smaller percentage of the purse bids, because it allows the champion side to essentially play around a little bit with the money that the champion receives if they want to do it in their hometown, which they do in Puerto Rico. So Dalton will go there, he'll deliver a knockout performance. You'll see a big win from Dalton Smith and the new world champion for the UK.
You're a man with your ear to the ground. We were expecting there to be some movement on this September 27th date for boxer Ben Shalom's first show with the BBC, headlined by Fraser Clark and Jamie TKB. That seems to now be pushed back, or at least not be on that date. What have you heard about that first launch show for the BBC and Boxer?
Nothing. I heard it could be October 25th now, but your guess is as good as mine. I'm not, you know, not my business. I don't really know much. It's been very quiet, as you all know as well, from their side. So we shall see.
In terms of fighters, a lot of quiet on that side. I just wondered if there's any discussions or any tentative kind of conversations happen with any of them.
Look, fighters, a lot of free agents out there right now, a lot of fighters looking for opportunities. And if there's great fighters out there who are free, we'll look to do something with them. So, yeah, it's interesting times. But everyone's going to be interested in a certain calibre of fighter, as we know. Every promoter's going to be pushing for them, so we'll see what happens.
I know I'm not going to look for you for a breakdown from Canelo versus Terence Crawford, but working relationship with Canelo Alvarez in the past, do you expect that to continue off of the back of the fight with Crawford?
We've got a great relationship with Canelo. You know, he's obviously got a few fights with Riyadh season, which is brilliant. They're making huge fights. I get on very well with Terence Crawford as well. They're both great guys. It's a great fight for the sport of boxing. And you know, it's a real 50-50, isn't it? I believe Canelo Alvarez has sort of been, not written off, but people start questioning his ability after two maybe lackluster performances, you'd say. And I think he's got to be the favourite in the fight. But it's a huge night, Allegiant Stadium, first boxing event there. I think they're going to have over 70,000 people, I guess, is the capacity there. So yeah, it's going to be a massive night for the sport of boxing. Great to see it happening.
Really back to Matchroom concerns. What about Lee Wood and Josh Warrington, Monaco? That's the rumours reported. What's the situation with that?
Yeah, no, that won't be in Monaco. There are discussions about possibly doing that fight. You know, they'd sort of gone, it looked unlikely, but Lee's got an offer now, so we'll see what happens. That, you know, it's an interesting fight. But we obviously promote Josh Warrington and got to get him busy and active. He fought back in April. So wait and see what Lee comes back with. I know he's got a number of opportunities on the table, so he'll choose the best decision for him.
Is one of those offers on the table Mick Conlan, who competed and beat Jack Bateson over in Ireland the past weekend?
I put a proposal to Mr. Sowland as well about Mick Conlan. He had a great win in Dublin, as you say. Let's see, they're all big fights, big ticket sellers, and people are going to come and talk a lot. Whether it's Lee, whether it's Michael Conlan against Josh Warrington, they're the kind of fights we want to see.
Can you say anything about that Monaco show?
It's in Monaco in December. No, not yet, because you got the wrong man for spoiling surprises. We're working on the card now. It's going to be a great card, as it always is. 5 fights on the card, and excited to see it.
Frank, anything else you want to leave off with?
Don't miss on Sunday, MJ Medvedev becoming undisputed champion of the world. He's going to shock the world against Inoue. Do not miss it.